Music has a way of setting the atmosphere. And in my household, growing up, and in my current household, we are intentional about playing the right kind of music for the holidays. I got two daughters, and they like traditional Christmas music. It just puts them in that mood. For me, I like to keep it upbeat, and even though it's the holidays, my new single, Roll Slide Roll, it makes people dance. And so a lot of people during the holidays, they want to get together and have a good time and get that holiday playlist, not just of holiday music, but just things that make you feel good and move. I was born and raised in Tuscaloosa, and we grew up with the attitude and the mindset that losing just ain't an option, right? In T-towns, like, man, we don't believe in losing. And so when you take that attitude and that mindset into a relationship, where you don't believe in losing, where you're gonna fight through all your challenges together, it just sort of embodies that slogan, roll, tide, roll. So we roll, slide, roll. So I just flipped it a little bit, but just tapping into that culture of not believing that losing is an option when you dealing with love, and not just giving up on your person is the first time you get knocked upside your head. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be 10 toes down, no folding up. It doesn't matter how many awards you win, what your chart positions are, there's nothing more rewarding than getting the love of the people. When people let you know how much your music means to them, that's what gives you the fuel to add to that fire to keep pushing. It's a tough business, but when you can look in people's eyes and you hear that smile, or you see them dancing online and they're telling you how much they love your music, that gives you the energy you need to keep pushing, man. So this particular song, just seeing people tell me, man, that's a hit, I got it on repeat. That's what I need to keep pushing, man. Matter of fact, it's what I need to keep roll, slide, rolling. I can attribute my attitude towards the songs that I write to my upbringing. I'm a preacher's kid, but not a religious preacher's kid. My dad and my parents, technically, my parents raised me to put God first, but to put love first, and to be intentional about spreading love throughout the world. And I know we say that as oftentimes as a colloquialism, but I'm really committed to that, to making sure that anytime I interact with people, either through my music or in life, that I shine a light through how I treat them and how I make them feel. Don't mean I don't get down with it, but at the end of the day, that's a core part of who I am. And so that translates into my music. When I write gospel music, of course, that's positive, but even in my R&B, I try to make sure that my music is positive, uplifting, sexy and romantic, but not demeaning to women. There's a debate with, was it the chicken or the egg came first, right? So was it the culture or the music? So I like to take people back when I'm asked a question about my opinions on this particular topic. I take people back to an era where family was strong, where we were fighting in our communities, we were loving our black women, the songs, if you listen to the music, Marvin Gaye, Al Green, soul music, R&B music was uplifting, and it reflected sort of a positive outlook on black culture. Now, which came first? Was it the misogyny, or was it the music that promoted misogyny, right? So when you stop looking at women with affection, or as someone to be respected, then you start making songs about it. So to me, I'm committed regardless of what goes viral, regardless of what people feel is popular. I'm committed to my own personal values and what I think about women, and what I think about relationships, and what I believe black culture should represent. So hopefully, if people listen to my music, I can be a part of influencing the positivity, as opposed to just getting on the bandwagon and sort of magnifying the trauma and magnifying the drama that we see in a lot of the music out here today. As a songwriter growing up in Alabama, I have to make that caveat because I didn't get a chance to be in the studio to ask all of these amazing people what they wanted. I had to think about what it is that their fans wanted to hear from them, the types of stories, the types of songs that their fans want to hear from them. And so for the music that I wrote for the artists that you mentioned, that's me using my country boy imagination. And when you grow up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, you don't always have access to the biggest opportunities, but you can have a big imagination. So I can't flex and floss and act like I've been in the studio with all these people, but I pressed hard enough to write good enough music to where when they heard it, they had to record it. And so that's a testament and encouragement to everybody out there to keep pushing no matter where you are, tell your story, use your imagination, and never give up. So when I'm working behind the scenes, I take the same approach to the process, the production and the songwriting process that I do when it's for me. The first thing I have to do is listen, understand the artist, and understand what it is they mean to their fans. And a lot of times I believe that writers just want to make something hot or that's trendy, but they fail to connect to the human being that's going to be singing the song. And so as my career developed, and I did get a couple of credentials and opportunity to speak with artists and be in the studio with them, the first thing I would always do is say, hey, let's talk. Let me get to know you first and build that relationship and that bond. And they'll start saying things, and if you listen to them close enough, you can write from a more empathetic perspective to where they feel like this is my song. It's not like you just wrote me a song and gave it to me, but you told my story. And that's one of the things that has helped me remain popular with my peers, is that they don't feel like I'm coming in and trying to Alvinize them. You're not gonna be another Alvin when you leave the studio with me. You're gonna be a better version of yourself. And so that's how I push myself when I'm as an artist. Like, what am I really trying to communicate to my fans? What do I stand for? When I'm interviewing and doing things like this, you don't have to send me questions in advance because I know who I am, I know what I feel, and it should come out naturally. Well, that's what I'm supposed to do for the artists that I work with. I feel like AI is no different than when CDs came along, when streaming and the iPod came along. It's an interrupter. It's a system interrupter. When things are done a certain way for so long, it interrupts the system, and it takes a minute for people to adjust. Same way when we went from physical copies of music to all streaming. Now AI is changing the game, and you have a different spectrum of people who are responding to it a different way. But for me, I'm staying pure to my process of how I feel about this type of change. Number one, it hurts to see that what I've worked so hard to do can be so easily replicated. However, I'm thinking, but what can I do to be innovative, to take part in it without compromising my core values, right? And so I don't know exactly where I'm gonna land yet, being honest, but just like I pay attention and paid attention to the changes between when streaming came along, and that changed a lot of things from when you were selling CDs to streaming. That was an interrupter. It affected businesses. It affected so much stuff. I'm paying attention to what changes are evolving with AI and how it impacts music. But I do believe, most importantly, just tell us the truth. Everybody needs to tell the truth. No more than I would write a song with you and lie and say I wrote it by myself. You would be like, yo, you're a fraud. I don't feel that people should utilize AI and then present it as though they did it themselves. Let's start there. Just be honest about what we're listening to and what we're hearing, you know what I mean? And I think that's the best way to move forward with consumers, with creators. Stop lying and saying you created this if you used AI to create it. Just tell the truth and then we'll figure the rest out. At this stage in my career, I want to make R&B music that falls in the category of those great albums and great artists who speak for the brothers, right? When you really feeling like you want to say something to your girl, your partner, whoever, and you reach for that record, you reach for that song, you reach for that artist to set that mood, it says, yeah, baby, this is how I feel, right there. That's what I was trying to say, because we can't always express ourselves the way we want to, but if you can find a song and you play it for and look in the eyes, yeah, what Alvin Garrett said, what he said. I feel like a lot of that music is missing. So I'm just intentional with this next project about singing the types of songs that'll make you want to put it in, let it play, and just say, yeah, that's how I feel, girl. And that's an emotional maturity. That's a place of emotional maturity for men, to get to a place where we can open up and speak freely about how we feel, without fear of being looked down on by women or feel like we're weak for saying that we're in love or feel like we're out of control for saying, yeah, I want to give my life to you, those kind of things, or say that we paying attention to all the little things you're doing. Music can teach us those things oftentimes, especially if we're not getting it, directly from somewhere else. So that's one of the things I'm committed to doing with this next project. I feel like in this country, in America, there's always been a war on the black family. And what better way than to systemically turn black men against black women to win the war on all of black culture? Because if you cannot have a strong community without strong families, and you cannot have a strong nation of people without strong communities and families. And so if we're fighting each other and tearing each other down, then our children have no chance to compete in a world where they understand the values of strong family relationships. And so you don't hear this type of, you don't see this type of war going on in other cultures because they're coming into our neighborhoods, building their businesses together as families and passing on generational wealth while we continue to lose it. And it ties right back to what you just said. When you have men and women fighting each other and hating each other, and women are becoming more educated at a faster rate and can't find equally educated black men or whatever, you're destroying our community, and it is systemic. And people sometimes have to stop and say, well, why are we seeing this as much as we're seeing it? Why is it amplified as much as it's amplified? Was it the chicken or was it the egg? Which came first? I believe that we have to be intentional about putting a stop to it. And that's why I'm making records like this that say, I'm gonna talk to her like this. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna say loving words to the women, even if they don't understand or want to be talked to like that because they forgot what it feels like to be talked to like that. I'm gonna make music and be the type of man that does it and encourage my brothers to do the same. This is one of my best albums. No, let me not say that because they were all my best when they were. I never feel like I didn't make my best album. But I'm saying this particular project, man, I have found a peace with who I am as an artist. I'm not trying to compete with the market. I'm not trying to compete with any other artist. I'm just telling my point of view. I'm just singing with it from a pure place, and I enjoy listening to it. And to be honest, as an artist, I wasn't always at a place where I enjoyed listening to myself sing because I spent so much time trying to write for other people to create a sound for them. I had to search for my own sound. And as a developing artist, I wasn't always pleased with what I heard because I was so critical. But now I'm at a place where I can listen to myself and actually kick back and enjoy myself. And if a lot of other artists are honest, that's a good place to be because we're so critical. Never feel like we're good enough. But I'm in that place, and I think when people hear this music, they'll hear that peace and that conviction in my voice when I'm singing. Now, it's interesting that you ask about the influence of Southern Soul in my music. People in the Southern Soul genre wouldn't technically classify my music as Southern Soul music, but I am a man with a Southern soul. Like, I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. My sound, my production is just slightly different than most Southern Soul music in the genre itself. But I have a Southern experience, and I can't get away from that. I listened to quartet music growing up, in gospel. I played quartet music as a bass guitarist. I'm from the same roots. So if you listen to Southern Soul, it's all gospel quartet music with a different lyric, basically. And so I can't get away from that, and I don't want to get away from my Southern roots and the R&B spin that I put on it. That's why I'm being more vocal about where I'm from, because I think there is a misperception that if you're from the South, you're slow. And that's one of the things I learned when I started touring and traveling, is that they have nicknames for people that are slow, and they call them Bama. Now they say you Bama. They say you a Bama. Like if you go to New York up north, Bama is a derogatory term for somebody that's slow, right? And so that tells you what other people think of us from other areas. They classify us as slow people. Now we know better, right? But I don't think we all are always intentional about showing better because we glorify and glamorize some of the behaviors and the attitudes and things that may, sort of give off that perception. But that's, you know, I'm a Southern boy. You can't get no more Southern than me. My folks are from Greensboro, Alabama. That's down in Hill County. We own, farmland. I grew up going back and forth to the country. You know what I'm saying? My dad was a coal miner. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a Southern boy, and I embraced my heritage, but I also worked hard too. I studied hard in school. I was taught by my parents to love people, not hurt people. You know what I'm saying? And I love everybody. I love my gangsters. I love everybody. I love white people. I can go anywhere, any time around anybody, because I was taught that if I put love out first, I'll get love back. And so people get respect, they respect you. And so I'm not afraid of human beings. I love human beings. So that's just who I am, and that's part of what I want to share with the world coming from the South. One of the things about, would you say, breaking down those perceptions, you know what I'm saying? Like yourself, you're a successful Southern brother, so am I. We know when we go out there what we're up against. And I tell people all the time, don't be upset about the stereotypes against you. Know them. Know them so you can beat them. And don't be afraid to have to beat them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was taught. Son, you're a black man. You're going to have to be twice as smart, work twice as hard sometimes to get half as far as a white man, but don't be mad about it and start working slower and complaining. Just outrun them. You see what I'm saying? And so that's my attitude about everything. So what you think, just because you're a black female, these are these stereotypes. Beat it. So what? So what? It is what it is.
They're here.
They're here. You know what I'm saying? So don't play into it, don't buy into it, and don't be defined by what other people think of you. You define yourself. And to me, when we stop embracing the power of self-definition, that's when you lose. That's when you lose. And so people like yourself, myself, and everybody out there that are defying the odds, they're defining themselves. They're not just doing it because somebody says, oh yeah, this is you, and you. No, they're not asking for permission. They're just pushing through all the barriers. It's been such an honor to work with at-risk youth and young adults at a workforce development prison reentry organization called the Dannon Project. So it's given me an opportunity to give back and to find purpose in my success, but also to find purpose in helping other people find their success. Without having to do that from a pulpit, right? So you're almost like you're really getting down in the gutter with people because you're having to listen, learn, and teach them how to translate their trauma into triumph. And that is a process. And my songwriting therapy program is a really good tool for that, because you get young people, no matter where they're from, no matter what side of town, no matter what gang they're affiliated with, to sit down, set all that aside for the sake of music and conversation. And through those conversations, we write songs, but we build relationships. And that's the beauty of the Right Life, WRITE, is that I'm not gonna just freestyle through my life and just take what's thrown at me. I'm gonna take control of my life and write it, have a vision, have a plan, and live life intentionally. I have this ridiculous belief that I just should never stop, never settle. By the time the world sees what I've been working on, they're already behind me. I should already have another vision set past what you're seeing right now. And that's what keeps you alive. That's what keeps you young. Like what keeps you saying, man, you look younger than you used to 10 years ago. Because I'm dreaming every day. I'm living because I never stopped creating. I never stopped believing that I should be more than I am today. And when I achieve success, it should feel old. Success should never catch you off guard. So when you live with a mindset that I'm going to be successful, I just gotta pay my dues and stay at it, you don't get surprised when people start acknowledging you. That's old to you. Wait till you see what I'm seeing 5 years from now. And so I'm that guy that I'm just driven by that. I'm driven by dreams, and I'm driven to inspire other people to live like that, because that's where true life comes from. And I've been around a lot of people in the industry who stop at their accomplishments. And that's how they start defining themselves. Yeah, I'm this dude, I did that. What are you doing though? Well, well, you done already. You done. All you telling is stories. You're not writing nothing in the future. You just repeating history and telling me about the past. And so you get old that way when you can't find something that brings you to life every day, makes you get up and go harder. And so for me, I feel like I'm just getting started. I don't feel like I've been in this game 25 years. I feel like I'm just getting started, to be honest with you. I want people to press play and let it play. I want them to feel the love, feel the warmth of my music, and just feel held by it. You know what I'm saying? And don't be afraid, if you can, find somebody you love. And look at them when you play my music, you know what I'm saying? And if you ain't got nobody, pray for it. Or play my music, hey girl. Yeah, man. Well, I just want people to feel good when they listen to the music, and I'm intentional about making my songs flow from song to song. So let it play from top to bottom. Don't put me on shuffle. Yeah. Don't put me on shuffle. When people remember my legacy, I want them to see what I've accomplished at each stage of my career. But what I truly want them to see that matters to me is what I did for others. Who else I helped grow? What message did I leave in the world that uplifted people, and that I was consistent with who I am and what I stand for, and that I made it matter. That I just didn't make it for myself, but I made it matter to the world around me. And so to me, when I think about all the testimonies I get when people listen to my song, I got a song called By Myself, and they listen to that message and they say, that song touched me and it made me change some things about my life. It helped me continue pushing for my dreams. That's my legacy, is that my words, my music is a part of your positive journey in life. And so if nothing else, if people never meet me and they hear my music, that's my legacy. And I want it to be one that's uplifting and empowering.